Once upon a time, there lived a poor man and woman who had no children. The man used to say, "How dull it is without any children about us! Our house is so quiet, and other people's houses so noisy and merry." "Yes," answered his wife. After a while, the woman had a child who was perfect in all his limbs, but no bigger than a thumb. Because he was so little, they named him Tom Thumb. The parents said, "He is just what we wished for, and we love him very much." The boy became wise and very quick, but he never grew in size, so the parents were very careful that nothing would happen to him. One day, his father made ready to go into the forest to cut wood, and the boy said, "Oh, father, if I can bring the cart, let me sit in the horse's ear and give it directions." "Well," answered the father, "we will try it for once." So the horse went on quite as if his master were driving him. When the two strangers saw Tom Thumb, they were struck dumb with wonder. One said, "Look here, the little chap would make our fortune if we were to show him in the town for money. Suppose we buy him?" So they said, "Sell the little man to us. We will take care of him." "No," answered the father, "he is the apple of my eye, and not for all the money in the world would I sell him." But Tom Thumb jumped on his father's shoulder and whispered in his ear, "Father, you might as well let me go. I will soon come back again." Then the father gave him up to the two men for a large piece of money, and they traveled on until it grew dusk. The man took him down from his head, and he ran away directly, and he slipped into a mouse hole, just what he was looking for. By good fortune, he came upon an empty snail shell. "That's all right. Now I can get safely through the night," he said. Then he heard two men pass by, and one was saying to the other, "How can we manage to get hold of the rich parson's gold and silver?" "I can tell you how," cried Tom Thumb. "How is this?" said one of the thieves, quite frightened. "I hear some one speak." So they stood still and listened, and Tom Thumb spoke again. "Take me with you. I will show you how to do it." "Where are you?" asked they. "Look about on the ground and follow my voice, and you will find me." At last they found him and lifted him up. "You little elf," said they, "how can you help us?" "Look here, I can easily creep between the iron bars of the parson's room and hand out to you whatever you would like to have." "Very well," said they, "we will try what you can do." So, when they came to the parsonage house, Tom Thumb crept into the room, but cried out within his might, "Will you have all that is here?" So the thieves were terrified and said, "Do speak more softly, lest anyone should be awaked." But Tom Thumb made he did not hear them and cried out again, "What would you like?" "Will you have all that is here?" So that the cook, who was sleeping in a room hard by, heard it and raised herself in bed and listened. The thieves, however, in their fear of being discovered, had run back part of the way, but they took courage again, thinking that it was only a jest of the little fellows. So they came back and whispered to him to be serious and to hand them out something. Then Tom Thumb called out once more, as loud as he could, "Oh yes, I will give it all to you, only put out your hands." Then the listening maid heard him distantly that time and jumped out of bed and burst open the door. The thieves ran off as if the wild huntsman were behind them. In the morning, Tom Thumb woke up by a cow who had taken him up with the hay, and at last he found himself in the cow's stomach. "Help me, I'm stuck inside the cow!" Tom Thumb started yelling, hoping that someone would hear him. The maid was then milking the cow, and as she heard a voice but could see no one, and as it was the same voice that she had heard in the night, she was so frightened that she fell off her stool and spilled the milk. She ran to her master crying, "Oh, master, the cow spoke!" "You must be crazy," answered her master, and he went himself to the cowhouse to see what was the matter. Tom Thumb had great trouble when a new misfortune happened. A hungry wolf ran up and swallowed the whole stomach at one gulp. But Tom Thumb did not lose courage. "Perhaps," thought he, "the wolf will listen to reason," and he cried out from the inside of the wolf. He decided to make the wolf bring him home. "My dear wolf, I can tell you where to get bacon and ham, as much as you can eat," and he described to him his father's house. The wolf needed not to be told twice. "Look here," cried the little man, "you are very well satisfied, and now I will do something for my own enjoyment," and began again to make all the noise he could. At last the father and mother were awakened, and they ran to the room door, and they saw a wolf. Tom Thumb heard his father's voice and cried, "Dear father, I am here in the wolf's inside, so be careful not to kill me," said Tom. His father killed the wolf and then cut him open to get Tom Thumb out of it. The father called out full of joy and told his wife, "Thank heaven that we have found our dear child," and they gave him something to eat and drink and new clothes, and lived happily ever after together.